Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Charles Smith, and you are on the October 12th, 2020 Appearance Review Commission meeting for the Village of Wilmette. We're glad that we have participants and an audience this afternoon. What I'd like to do is start by asking Lucas Sievertson to take a roll call of the commission members, and then we'll begin with our meeting.
Thanks. Nana Andrick? Not present. Richard Brill? Oh, and remember, if you're speaking, you need to unmute yourself.
Okay, I'm here.
Okay, great. Devin Castellano?
Here.
Doug Johnson?
Here.
Mason Miller?
Here.
Jeffrey Saad? Not present. And Charles Smith?
Present. Thank you. So again, we are in a public meeting this afternoon, and as a result of that, the meeting does contain a variance request. So what we're going to do in the virtual world we live in is ask all of you who wish to speak to swear, to give sworn testimony today. So this meeting is a legal proceeding, and all testimony this afternoon must be given under oath. If you're here and planning to testify, I would ask that you raise your right hand at this time and be sworn in. Do you swear or affirm that you will tell the truth in the testimony that you're about to give? So please say, I do.
I do.
Thank you. And we will go on the assumption that everyone participating was able to do so. So our agenda today, we will have an approval of the minutes as we do every Appearance Review Commission meeting. We have one consent agenda item that our commission will review. We have two cases to be brought before us this afternoon. And then with each of the cases, we offer an opportunity not only for the participants and the applicants, but also for the public, should they so choose to comment. We'll ask for final public comments after all the cases have been read, and then we will adjourn. So with that in mind, and with that agenda as our platform, we have the minutes from our Monday, September 14th minutes that have been given to us. I'd like to ask if there is a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Before we take a formal vote, I'll ask the commission if there are any comments or questions about the minutes. Hearing none, Lucas, could you please take the roll?
Yes. Richard Brill?
Approved.
Devin Castellano?
Approve.
Doug Johnson?
Approve.
Mason Miller?
Approved.
And Charles Smith?
Yes, approved. Okay, so the minutes are officially put into the records. Thank you very much for writing them and capturing the comments and the activities of our last meeting. We have one consent agenda item today. Lucas, could you please introduce that item?
Sure. Case number 2020 AR 18 for 1129 Central Avenue. The petitioner is Heroines and Heroes, and they're requesting an appearance review certificate to change the signage on the existing awning. So on this particular building, all the awnings are of similar size, and they have standard colors, which all the tenants in the building use. So the color of the awning is staying the same. It's really just new signage replacing the signage from the previous tenant.
Very good, thank you. I will ask if there is a motion to approve this consent agenda item.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay,
Is
before
that
we,
Mason? Sorry.
that was Mason.
Okay, thanks.
Before we take an official roll, are there any further questions from the commission?
Yes, Lucas, what type of store? Heroines and Heroes.
Yeah, it's actually going to be sort of a hybrid between board games and comic books and also other just books.
Okay, thank you.
Wilmette resident who's been looking for the opportunity to do this and figured this is the time to do it. Everyone's inside playing board games and this opportunity became available, so they're pretty excited.
That's outstanding. I hope the business is a success.
Yeah.
Okay, Lucas, could you please, any further questions? Hearing none, Lucas, could you please call the roll?
Yes. Richard Brill,
Yes,
Devin Castellano,
Yes.
Doug Johnson,
Yes.
Mason Miller,
Yes.
and Charles Smith.
Yes,
Motion carries.
wonderful. Thank you. Okay, we have a very efficient group here, and we're rolling right into our first case. Lucas, could you please introduce case 2020 AR03, and then please give the floor to the applicant.
Yes. Case is 2020 AR3 for 1926 Wilmette Avenue. The petitioner is High Point Homeowners Association requesting an appearance review certificate to modify the existing lighting on the property. They're going from a gas lamp to an LED, as well as adding some new lighting fixtures to the site. And I believe that the president of the association is here, as well as some of their contractors. So would the petitioner like to brief presentation?
Yeah, hello. My name is Mohan Srinivasi. I'm a resident at 1918 Unit C, Wilmette Avenue, which is one of the 28 units in the High Point homeowners townhouse development. Just a couple of blocks west, actually on 1 block west of Ridge Road and Wilmette Avenue. The development, as you can see in the background of my camera view here, is a grouping of 6 townhouse buildings with a combination of 4 and 5 units per building. Building was built. The townhouse development was built back about 51 years ago, and it was built originally with gas lamping for the site. These gas lamps are obviously 50 years old. The way they're designed, the way they were originally designed is that they're designed to run all the time. So there's gas continuously fed to these lamps from within the unit. So each unit has a gas pipe coming out of the basement, feeding these gas lamps. And again, in the interest of saving money and doing something that's green, we want to, not have a super energy efficient lighting solution. Also, the technology is really fewer and fewer people who are available and willing to service these lamps. The mantles that require constant replacement are expensive. They're not even made locally. I think they're outsourced from Germany, and it's become a headache for the association to keep this street lighting infrastructure in an operating condition. Obviously, given the fact that over the years our association has seen a demographic shift, move from mostly 50 plus to now it's a vibrant young community with a bunch of young kids. And again, we believe safety is a primary concern here. Aesthetics is a close second. Energy efficiency is just about as important as all the other two. Switching to a decorative LED Edison style decorative light bulb with a lantern that very closely tries to match what we already have on the development. Basically, at locations where there are existing poles, we're just going to dismantle the gas infrastructure, put in new electrical infrastructure, LED light sources, and aesthetically, it's going to be no different during the day and during the night. We think with studies we've done, the warm white type of light fixture that or the warm white type of light that the Edison light bulb will provide will be right at the same temperature level as the gas flame that's being replaced. So again, aesthetics is hugely important for us because we're the ones who live here and we're the ones who are going to be seeing these times day in and day night in and night out. So again, we believe by doing this we can upgrade the infrastructure for hopefully another 50 years and not have to deal with diminishing returns on the lack of serviceability of existing gas infrastructure. See nothing about the safety issues. There have been a couple of burnouts where the gas leaking or the gas ending up in light fixtures blown out in storms, and when they relit, there was actually a ball of gas that does tend to ignite quickly. So again, safety, aesthetics, energy efficiency, these are all in play here as we plan to upgrade our infrastructure from 50 years old to some hopefully will upgrade us for the next 5 years. That's all I have. I believe Lucas already has a presentation, which are basically engineering drawings, as well as photometric studies to show that the proposed light fixture will not increase any or provide any more light pollution past the property line, because the source of our light fixture is actually lower than the fence that surrounds the property. Anyway, that's the intent of this application. It's infrastructural upgrade. I'll be glad to answer any questions. I do also have with me Eric Stein from the engineering studio, our electrical engineer. If you have any more technical questions that are beyond my pay grade, but I'll be glad to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Mohan. Nice to see your description of the energy of the development. I took a small drive through there, and I'm sure some of the other commission members have as well. And it frankly, it surprised me. I hadn't been down in your development before, and I would endorse your wording of seeing the Halloween decorations and some of the kids' toys and that. So that's wonderful. What I'd like to do is we have standards that we look at that we'll go through in a minute, but I'd like to offer my fellow commissioners, committee members, the opportunity to ask questions. And Devin, I'd like to start with you. If you have any questions for Mohan or his electrical designer.
I guess the only question I have, the photometric studies look like it's definitely all of the lighting is focused on site. Is there any location where we would not be meeting the correct lighting levels at the street? So, Lucas, is there anything within code? I know you have to at property lines. You need to be at a certain light level. Is there any locations here that it doesn't? It looks like it's only at the 2 entrances, but.
Yeah, let me, just before I do that, Nada's coming into the meeting, so I'm just gonna add her as well. Nada, are you there? Nada, I think you might be muted. Okay, well, hopefully Nada can hear us. Devin, just to answer your question, all the lighting levels are within code. There were a few things on the initial submittal that were exceeding code, and those have been corrected. There was also a concern of maybe some light spilling over the property line at the neighbor to the east because of the proximity of the property line. But as the applicant has provided follow-up information to me, they'll be actually locating the lamp, the source of the light at the lamp to be roughly, I think, a foot below the height of the fence. So that will provide enough screening to meet the light maximum at the property lines. And then in addition to, they intend to put this on a circuit so that it's dimmable. So if in the future they're not needing to turn this all up and redo it, they can just turn down the light a little bit. But as it's proposed, I don't foresee any issues with light pollution.
Right. And it looks like you're proposing 2700 Kelvin for the color temperature.
That's correct.
Right. That's a nice color. I'm actually happy to see this. I know there are a lot of kids in that development, and I think safety is really important. So as well as energy savings. So I'm happy to see the move to LED.
Thank you.
Thank you, Devin. Mason, do you have any comments or questions for Mohan?
I have no comments. Looks good.
Very good. Doug?
It does look good. Just to confirm, all of the light fixtures will have the same temperature bulbs. Are they all the same wattage, or is there a range?
So in terms of the wattage, or I guess what you're trying to describe here is the intensity of the light, and
Yes.
that being lumens. They're all going to be the same lumen output. And if I can share my screen really quick, I want to show a picture.
Yeah, let me add you as a presenter so you can.
Sorry, I'm not trying to make this more complicated.
No, that's fine. We've all become PhDs in patience.
Well, for whatever reason, I'm not able to
Don't worry about it. And
as a presenter.
It's really no different. All I was trying to show you that we did a little mock-up of the 2700 color temperature, and it's pretty close to the color, the warm glow of the gas lamp. So I think it's practically indistinguishable, and they're all going to be about the same intensity. I don't know if you've driven through the development at night. It is pretty dark in here, and we just wanted to get it up to a point where it's not in your eye, but it's at least a little safe to walk around, not have people be kind of lose their footing, and it's just right now it's a little lower than it needs to be, I think, and just for safety, we're gonna crank it up a little bit. It's going to be on a dimmable circuit. We'll tweak it as well.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Richard.
Yes.
Comments?
From studying the proposal and listening to the association president, it looks like a great solution for safety, for energy saving, and the thought of actual gas looking through all these fixtures is not thrilling. I think you're making a great alternative, a great, and I'm definitely in favor of it.
Thank you.
Nada, we may not have your ability to ask a question. If you wish, there's a little icon that says, is there any way to send a comment in, Lucas, if she has any queries or questions?
You know, it looks like Nada is maybe using her phone, so I don't know. But I can certainly share my screen and kind of show how that would work.
Yeah, it looks like there's a little raise your hand icon. I don't know if that's for.
Yeah, so if you go here, it says show conversations. If everyone can see that, then you're able to type a message down here.
Oh, got it.
I don't know how it shows up on a cell phone. If it gives exactly the same options, I believe it does, but I don't know on a particular phone if that works.
Well, I'm just trying it. Of course, I have a spelling error already. Okay. I'd like to ask Mohan one question. I agree with my fellow committee members. It's an excellent idea. We typically are very particular about the color of the lamping. And I think you've done a nice job of keeping it warm, as Devin, and I know Doug was going to ask that question if Devin hadn't raised it. But I wanted to confirm that the height of the lamp for the new poles is going to be the same or not any higher than the current lamp.
Yeah, so I did, again, the intent for us is to make it, obviously aesthetically pleasing because we're the ones going to be looking at it every day. And we want to keep, we obviously want to reuse as many of the light poles as possible to reduce the cost of this infrastructure upgrade. So I guess the light fixture, we've selected the lantern itself. The top of the lantern is going to be at 7 feet, and we're going to adjust the poles as required to make that happen. That, I believe, there is no. It's not like over 50 years the entire development has remained constant, and all the lamps are exactly the same height. So if you just average out the height of all the lamps that are out there, they're all within an inch or two of each other.
Yeah.
One area it's sitting on a small retaining wall, another one sitting on the ground, another one sitting. So there is a good variation. Going in, we want to make sure we want to try to level the tops of all these lanterns and keep them above the same height relative to mean sea level. So it does have a clear datum of light level, and you don't get ups and downs in lighting intensity because of vertical elevation changes. So yeah, so we want to keep it no higher than what's there. But again, what's there is all over the place. So we're going to make a pole once we get the contractor on board and establish what the exact height's going to be. The source of the light, actual lamp that's giving out the light, is not based on the shape of the lantern. It's actually going to be much lower than the top of the lantern itself.
Yes, I see that.
So the light fixture giving out the light bulb, if you will, is going to be lower than the fence height by a few inches. So there's absolutely no way, there's no physical way light can, defy gravity and spill over past the property line on the ground. So that's our intent. Keep everything below the height of the fence and come up with some uniform elevation with the contractors. Now that we have laser leveling technology, we can establish a uniform height.
Yeah, I completely understand, and the intent of the question is not to micromanage the exact height, but when I went through there, the relatively low, meaning where they're at now, height of the lamps and the poles is very intimate, and it set a great scale. And I was just wanting to make sure you weren't going up another foot or 2 feet, because right now it's at a human scale that you don't see on a lot of development site lighting. And whoever designed it originally did a nice job of thinking about scale in that regard. So that's your answer. Perfect. Thank you. I have no further questions.
Thank you.
So, Lucas, I don't know if Nada had any questions or submitted any, but I did test that. I assume you were able to see my question or my note.
Yes.
So if she had questions, then she would have submitted those by now. So I would ask our committee if there is a motion to approve this case as submitted.
So moved.
And is there a second?
Second,
Thank you. Lucas, could you please call the roll?
Yes. Richard Brill,
yes.
Devin Castellano,
Yes.
Doug Johnson,
Yes.
Mason Miller,
Yes.
and Charles Smith.
Yes.
All right, thank you. The motion carries.
Thanks, everybody, for your time.
Yep, nice job, Mohan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we can hang up, right, Lucas?
Yes, yes.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Okay, Lucas, could you please introduce the next case?
Yes, next case, 2020 AR 17 for 1116 Central Avenue. The petitioner is Thomas Michael, representing Koya, the restaurant that's located there. And they are requesting an appearance review certificate to remodel the facade, including new base material, painting, and signage, including a 34.14% wall sign coverage variation. They're also proposing a conforming projecting sign. And if Thomas is on the call, if you'd like to give a brief introduction of your project.
Sure. And hello, everyone. My name is Thomas Michael. I'm with Michael Office of Architecture. As Lucas mentioned, representing the restaurant Koya. I'm the architect for the project. So some of you may know Koya. It's an existing restaurant in Wilmette. We're proposing an interior remodel of the existing dining space, and as such, we're also intending to rebrand the building exterior, as shown in the submitted review package. So we're proposing new wall signage mounted to a wood signage frieze, as shown on page 3. We're creating brand identity more at the pedestrian level. And we're also proposing a projecting sign for identification for potential drive-by customers, as you can see on page 4. And we are also proposing to paint some existing wood trim and replace a portion of damaged granite base at the entry vestibule. So the wall sign, as proposed on page 3, as Lucas mentioned, it's greater than the 30% coverage. Per the Wilmette zoning ordinance, it's about around 35%. So we're requesting a wall sign coverage variation. And we are also proposing to replace damaged granite base that I mentioned earlier with the black color granite. That'd be more in character with the vestibule, more than the current orange color of the damaged base, which you can kind of see on page 3. So that material change is going to require your review, as well as the projecting sign on page 4. So just to sum up, generally we think the design as proposed is in character with the existing building facade, and we're hoping it'll add value to the restaurant brand and the building as a whole. So that's it. Thanks for your time, and I'm happy to answer questions. And I believe Jay Kim, the owner, is also on the call.
And if I could just, sorry, I failed to point out one item in the proposal. The part of the reason why the sign variation is because the location where they're proposing to place the sign is on that kind of fascia right above the storefront window. If it was placed in the traditional location where one would put it in the along the stone, the size would be conforming. However, they're proposing a projecting sign, and so that would conflict with a wall sign being at that location.
Yeah, and I'll just add to that. I think the purpose of putting the signage where we have it is we think the stone band would be a little high for the intent of this wall signage, which is geared more towards pedestrians. And some of the building elements would kind of block it. So that's the reasoning of putting it where we are. And we didn't want to damage in stone if we could avoid it as well.
Right. Okay, thank you, Thomas, for the presentation. And I'd like to give our committee members a chance to ask questions, and we'll go the opposite path this time. So, Richard, I'd like to ask for your questions or comments.
Okay, we unmuted now. First of all, I want to start off by saying Korea is a wonderful restaurant. We can't wait for you to reopen. It's been too long. You've been in hiatus. Everything looks good to me. I was just wondering why, because there's a variance involved, if the lettering was a need a variance. So why want to 11% larger?
That's a good point, actually. And I think that's certainly something that we're open to, is just either reducing the size or the spacing, or potentially, yeah, I mean, just reducing the spacing enough to even get it below what it needs to be, which is, just another 5%.
And just to, sorry, just to clarify how it's calculated, the coverage of the proposed sign is 64%. Well, 64% of the overall fascia where it's being located. So it would be, you'd actually be reducing the letter's height in approximately in half.
Well, could I ask a question on that, Lucas, on how that's measured? Because if you took the area of these pin-mounted letters and said that's the actual sign itself versus including the space in between, because you could make the argument, if I'm not mistaken, that the fascia behind stands on its own, and the actual sign itself, not the area that it spans across, but the sign itself is only the physical dimension of the letters.
Mm-hmm.
Is that how you're calculating the coverage, or is it the space that it spans across?
Yeah, let me pull up. I can share my screen and show you the calculations. Almost there. Okay, can everyone see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll do the signable area is the screen area. And then the sign itself by code is calculated by drawing a rectangle that contains all the elements of the sign. So as you can see, it's while there's it's quite large, there's a lot of dead space in between the letters, including here and here. So that's why the variation is so significant.
So
Yes.
Lucas, if I can just comment real quick. So the way that I thought it was calculated was, for instance, the first Koya would be assigned, the middle characters would be assigned, and then the other Koya is assigned. And those are all each their own region, which when I calculate that, you get about 35%. So I guess the way I was looking at it is not exactly per zoning
Okay.
code.
Okay, yeah, it's the way I calculated it. I'm not necessarily saying it makes sense in this particular case, but that's how the code specifies it's supposed to be calculated.
Okay, that explains for us, for our commission, the underlying approaches and metrics. So thank you very much for that clarification. Richard, do you have any additional questions?
No, I just, what I presented, I'm just leaving open to the rest of the commission.
So your suggestion, I think the delta, to Lucas's point, the delta in the strictest interpretation would be to make the sign half of what it is to be conforming, versus the way Thomas analyzed it in terms of the individual words or groupings of letters, which would have a much less of a size reduction. So, okay, so those are good data points for us.
So if those are the choices, I am not in favor of reducing the size of the letters in half. That would be too much.
Okay, good to understand. Doug.
Yeah, I would just like to understand, well, a couple of things. First is the lighting. Is the only lighting related to this signage on the sign that sticks out? Is it the same wattage that it was before, the same lumens, or is it different?
So yeah, the only lighting will be the lighting for the projected sign. It's going to be in the same location. So it's an LED replacing what I assume was either an incandescent or halogen lamp. I haven't actually gotten up there and looked at it. So the wattage will be less because it'll be LED now. The lumens should be roughly around the same, because it's a double head replacing a double head. And it's about a 3,000, I believe the fixture we selected was 3,000 Kelvin. I apologize, I didn't add that into the package, but it's for more or less will be kind for kind replacement.
Right. Well, based on that, I mean, I would not have a concern at 3,000 being the top end, but if it's something different, I think that might be a concern. The other thing, just my observation to the previous discussion, is that I don't see a problem with the way it's currently designed. And as a matter of fact, it's not just signage. The way it's designed is a part of the artistry and a part of the look. And so I think it would be kind of strained to say that the sign, if it were moved up 2 feet, would be fine, and moved down 2 feet isn't. So I'm with it. I think it looks very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Mason, any queries from you?
Yes, I think it looks really good. I really like the overall design. I just have a few quick questions. Did you consider doing backlit letters for the Koya and for the characters?
We considered it. It was more, honestly, it's kind of a price decision, and kind of also the feeling that if we light the projecting sign, that the letters on the facade can kind of stand on their own and don't necessarily need to be lit.
Okay. As far as the size goes, I think the signage is very much in proportion to the building, and I have no problem with what you've done there. And I think it's a huge improvement over what's there.
Yep.
And that's all I have, really.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mason. Devin.
I agree with what all the other commissioners have said. I think the proportions seem right. And Lucas, just to clarify, so the Wild Child, which is right next door, the signage area extends further down, correct? So they're just, because they have an awning that looks like it maybe is about 30 inches in height as opposed to the 12 inches that they are showing for the Koya sign. Is that right?
You're asking about the size of the sign for Wild Child?
Well, so the signage area.
Oh, the signage area.
Yeah, so that projects further down, correct?
Correct. And so the signage area, the signable area, that would not go past the storefront.
Got it.
So even though it extends past the storefront onto another storefront, it would basically stop. There's a lot of feedback. Let me just mute everyone. Okay, sorry. So yeah, let me share my screen. So going back here, yes, this band does extend this way. However, this portion would not be included in the signable area for this particular storefront. Does that answer your question? Oh, sorry, I put you on mute, Devin, sorry.
What I was looking at on page 2, even though I know that the signage, the percentage is at 64%, a lot of that is just the size of the band itself, because looking at their next door neighbor, the Wild Child, that awning is fairly large, but the letters are probably, I don't know if we could compare, but I'm guessing it's similar in size. Is that a safe assumption?
So traditionally, balance signage is allowed to go up to 9 inches in height.
Okay.
So yeah, it's
Similar.
very similar. Yeah. So if you're looking for scale of what it would look like, yeah, it'd be very, very similar. Obviously, however, the Wild Child is in lowercase letters, but yes, it's going to be similar in scale. And wall signs are regulated also differently than signage on your balance.
Mm.
So in terms of trying to compare what's conforming, they're just kind of it's kind of apples and oranges. But if you're
Sure.
looking for scale, yes, it would be a very
Similar
similar
scale.
scale.
Okay. Yeah, I understand that it's not conforming, but I think proportionally it works as it's been designed.
I would agree. Yeah.
Thank you, Devin. Anything else?
Oh, no, sorry.
Okay. And if Nada has any comments, I suspect she'll have to send them to you, Lucas. I have a couple of questions and a comment. Thomas, my one question is on your elevation drawing, you state that the letters are powder coated metal. What color will that be?
So it'll be similar to how it's shown. So it'll be probably an off-white color. Don't have a specific Pantone or CMYK for you right now, but it'll be like a powder coated, probably aluminum, but it'll be close to a white.
Okay, so white or silver, but I just wanted to go on record that it's not going to be a chartreuse or something because the colors were not specifically identified. So thank you.
No, yeah, it'll be very similar to what's the colors shown on the images.
All right, thank you. And those, just to confirm, those are non-illuminated letters. They're pin mounted, and the only lighting on the exterior of the facade is from the newly lamped existing fixture.
That's correct.
Okay. I wanted to comment that I believe the signage that we're reviewing, the word I would like to use is elegant. So I really like it. It's proportionally, if it met the letter of the code or the zoning, I think it would be too small in proportion, and what you've shown is quite nice.
Thank you.
So I think from my perspective that it works well. The granite base replacement is an excellent thing to do, and like Richard, I can't wait for the restaurant to come back online.
Great, thank you.
So we have
if I may,
pardon me?
if I may say something, say just one thing real quick.
Yes, absolutely. Please, thank you.
Thank you, commissioners, for having us and just doing all this, and thank you, Thomas, and thank you, Tom. He's been great, designing, remodeling our restaurant. First, it was me and my sister. We're thinking about where should we start, but Tom has been tremendous help for us. And thank you, Lucas, for he's been helping me 6 years ago when we opened the restaurant, and right now. And as you may know, early this year, the pandemic happened, and we tried everything to survive. And for me, because I was in Korea meeting my wife, she's still in Korea right now. And when the pandemic was happening in January, and I just felt, and I saw how that region was going through so much. So when I came back, it was safer when I came back around February. But when the March comes, April comes, I felt that it was, it's very dangerous for the community, and especially for our employees, and especially my dad, he's in the high risk. So we always wanted to be careful how we do it. But as you know, we didn't know what to do in the beginning. So we were struggling, doing business at the same time, trying to keep our employees very safe, because I believe as a business, we have to make sure that we make our community safe as well. So we decided it just happened last minute, around May, we decided, what, maybe let's try something different. And we really love, we could have said, let's give up on it, just move on. We love for the past 6 years a tremendous from our customers, and we just wanted to give something. We just want to bring something a little bit more better and more efficient. So we're kind of tweaking our menus to bring something a little bit healthier, more efficient, more convenient for the customers. For God's sake, I hope this will never happen again. Just in case, if anything like this will ever happen again, then I want to be, as an owner, I want to make sure that we protect our employees, we protect our customers and our community. So that's what we're doing this, and our budget is kind of. It was a good point, thank you, sir. And that I wish we make a kind of illuminated signs and everything, but as of it right now, to be honest with you, we're kind of limited on budget. So, but even that, Tom has been giving us great design, great alternatives. So I just want to take this time to say thank you very much for just listening to us, trying to and make it easier for us go through with this. And so I just want to say thank you, and I hope you guys stay all safe as well. So thank you very much for your time.
Very, very heart-spoken words. Thank you, Jay. I'd like to, before we go through the formal roll call here, I'd like to just confirm we have appearance review standards. There are 16 of those, and just a couple of questions as I march down through 1 through 16. The first item has to do with considering all sides of the design. And am I getting, am I echoing, Lucas?
Yeah, you are. Let me go ahead and mute everyone again, and then Charles, you can unmute yourself.
Okay.
Give me a second. Okay, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Okay, is that better now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, just thank you for your patience on this, but I just want to go through here. We are supposed to be looking at all sides of the structure, and I know specifically we're just looking at the facade on Central, but I wanted to confirm that the renovation of the project, is there anything else being done as an example on the roof relative to new equipment or any enclosures?
So there's no new equipment. The kitchen is staying as is. It's really just an interior remodel to the dining space. And there's no work on the rear facade either. So it's really just here on the front facade with the signage and the painting just to kind of clean up what's existing.
Okay, outstanding. That answers several of these items. The materials we've all talked about. You've done a nice job of presenting and explaining those. The scale is part and parcel of this review, especially since a variation request. I think we've talked about the scale of the lettering and the definition of how it's quote unquote covering the building surface it's on. I've heard the committee members endorse what you've done. I don't see there's no parking, there's no you have taken into account the pedestrian movement, and this relationship with the street. Wanted to confirm that the blade sign, Lucas, is within standards. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, very good. Lighting, we discussed, it's only replacing existing. And as I look down through these standards, that covers all of the applicable ones. I guess, Thomas, I'll ask one last question. Is there any landscaping, be it potted or temporary or seasonal landscaping associated with the exterior facade?
Not as part of the proposal. We're not
Okay.
proposing any changes out there.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, with that, let me ask if there's any, I don't know if there are any public attendees that wish to have a comment or a question to our applicant today.
Yeah, let me just check and make sure nothing on YouTube. I do not see anything on YouTube. And nothing additional in our chat.
Okay, excellent. With that background and that dialogue, I'd like to ask Commission if there's a motion to approve the variance as requested. And I'll leave it at that if someone would like to make that motion.
So moved.
Sorry, was that Devin?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thanks.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Lucas, could you please take the roll, call the roll?
Yes. Richard Brill,
Yes.
Devin Castellano,
Yes.
Doug Johnson,
Doug, you're on mute.
Yes.
thank you. Mason Miller
Yes.
and Charles Smith.
Yes,
All right, the motion carries.
outstanding. Okay, Thomas and Jay, thank you very much. We appreciate your investment in Wilmette and your heartfelt consideration of your staff and your patrons.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time once again. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Right, thank you.
Okay.
And then, sorry, Chairman, I just wanted to ask if anyone would like to authorize the chairman to approve the case report for the village board.
So authorized.
Thanks, Mason. And then a second.
Second.
Okay.
So,
Richard, oh, sorry.
well, call the roll, then I have a question.
Okay. Richard Brill,
Yes,
Devin Castellano,
Yes.
Doug Johnson,
Yes.
Mason Miller,
Yes.
and Charles Smith.
Yes.
Great.
So the protocol, Lucas, will be that I'll review the minutes, approve them, and then you will forward them to the village, to the zoning board of approval.
I will, yeah, I'll incorporate the minutes into the case report and then send that to the village board for approval.
Okay, thank you. Wonderful. Okay, and timing of that is?
I don't know when the village board is gonna place this on their agenda, but I'm guessing it's gonna be the October 27th.
Okay, very good. Before the month's out. I just want to make sure that Koya has a expedited process for their forward movement.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, that concludes our cases. I'll ask one last time, and if Karen and Lucas, you can confirm that they're for public comment, if there's anyone that wishes to address any topics today.
Yeah, no other comments on chat or on YouTube chat, and nothing in Teams chat.
Okay, so should we formally adjourn and then confirm the next meeting date, or should we do that while we're in the meeting?
Let's confirm the next meeting date, and then we can adjourn.
Okay, very good.
So as it's typically scheduled, the next meeting would be November 2nd. That is in 3 weeks. Another thing, I know that Jeffrey Saad was not able to make this meeting, I believe the last meeting too, just because of work being going on until a little bit later in the day. So I think he was wondering if the meeting could get pushed back until like 5:30, and he was wondering what the rest of the commissioners thought about that.
ooh, if I could comment, 5:30 pushes it over near to dinner time and the network news, which we watch religiously every night.
Yeah, I wonder, I agree. I wonder if we're going to go later, should we go to 6:30 or 7, our usual time? Otherwise, it is kind of an awkward time.
With 5:30.
It's awkward, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I mean, I don't object to 6:30 or 7.
I'd request that if we're going to change it, we're as early as the rest of the commissioners are comfortable. I'm going to be in a different time zone at that date out west, so I'll be coming in from a later time zone. Actually, so it would be earlier for me then.
Yeah.
Oh, not the opposite. It won't be east. Okay, so Have it as late as everybody wants.
Okay, midnight.
No, that's fine. If all of you think that a 6:30 or 7 is, it's totally up to you. I'm flexible.
I'm flexible as well on that. I can make that work.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, why don't we say 6:30 then on November 2nd. Okay, and I'll send out an email after this meeting, just confirming.
Do we know, Lucas, any heads up, since it's only 3 weeks away, on number of cases?
The number of cases, I'm trying to think. Well, there would be the case for 7-Eleven. They're intending to be on that date.
Okay. Okay, very good. I'd like to ask if there's now that we've confirmed November 2nd at 6:30 p.m., is there a motion to adjourn our meeting?
Can I just have one question? Is the 7-Eleven case a variation request, or is it not a variation request?
It is not a variation request.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody wish to adjourn our meeting?
I move to adjourn.
Second.
I'll second that.
Those in favor?
Aye.
I
All
Okay.
right.